Hi, all. This is Day and Arry. Welcome to Windshield Time. This is the Tuesday show.
Yeah, welcome to Windshield Time, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. This podcast is a non-technical, fun, informative way to learn about money, Bitcoin, blockchains, crypto, and digital assets for busy parents and working folks who are curious about these new technologies. Day, myself, and our guests talk about these evolutionary systems of money and what they do. Because what part of your life does money not touch?
Thank you very much.
And this podcast is not financial advice, and your reactions are your complete and utter responsibility. Thanks. Enjoy the show.
That doesn't roll off the tongue as well as it could, does it?
No, it does not.
All right, it's November 19th, Tuesday again, and my name is Day. I was formerly a sales engineer working on wide area networks.
And I'm Arry, the co-host with Day, chair of the Cascadia Blockchain Council.
Did I say I was the co-host of Windshield Time?
You did not.
Oh, I'm the co-host of Windshield. I am a co-host of Windshield Time as well. How are you doing?
You know when you lost something and it's been like nagging you for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then you feel like you had an aha moment and you go rushing to it, and then to find that that thing that you were looking for was not there?
Yeah, you're a little frustrated.
Yeah, I'm left hanging. I don't have closure on that thing that I've been looking for.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But I found the other thing you were looking for.
Yeah, I had given up on that because I had my primary nail clippers. And so you found my backup nail clippers, which are also awesome. So that's awesome.
Nail clippers are a thing for Day.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm really excited about this podcast episode. It's with Ian Balina. I missed
You gonna ask me how I'm doing?
Oh. How are you doing, Day?
So I was up super late preparing this show.
Thank you.
Everything's prepared except the intro. So we're doing a quick recording of the intro. And I think I'll be able to survive. I think I got like 5 to 8, 9, like 3 or 4 hours of sleep. So
Good.
I think I'll be okay. It's the sleep interruptions that kill me, as I've been telling a lot of people. But as long as I get a solid little block of sleep, then I can be okay.
Well, good. I'm glad you're blocked of sleep.
And I think my sinus issues are mostly gone too. I was listening to some recordings, and I sound really, really sinusy. It's
really?
kind of
I can't tell.
It's kind of shocking. Yeah,
I can't tell, and I'm married to you.
Previous shows, you didn't listen to the previous shows and
I
notice that? Okay,
did not notice.
You didn't notice?
Nope.
Okay, I noticed. All right, let's do some Satoshi math really quick.
Yeah, what's the price of Bitcoin at?
So I checked the price of Bitcoin on the handy dandy Apple stocks quoting app a moment ago, and it was sitting at $8,151.
Ooh, okay, it's still kind of holding, kind of.
So then what do you do with that $8,151?
Well, to figure out how many Satoshis, which is the smallest denomination of Bitcoin.
Otherwise known as sats.
Yep. You take $1. So I'm trying to figure out how many Satoshis are in $1. I take $1 and I divide that price of Bitcoin decimalized out 8 decimal points. So it is 1 divided by
One dirty U.S. fiat dollar.
1 divided by 0.0000.
Yay, you got the correct number of zeros. 8151.
Which equals, drumroll,
12,268 sats per dirty fiat dollar.
More Satoshis for every dollar.
Yeah, exactly. This show is my first solo interview that I had ever done.
I'm sure you did awesome because you're an awesomosaurus Rex.
Thank you. It turned out okay, I think. The audio quality is not the kind of audio quality that I would like to have in our studio here.
But was it as good as my iPhone recorder? Or you used a special recorder, didn't you?
Yeah, I used a special recorder, the Micro Nano Studio, and it turned out okay. Yeah, we were in a hallway in Las Vegas at the Cosmopolitan, and what I thought would be a really quiet area. There's some sections of the audio that sound really awesome, and some that sound like we're going through a train station or something. It's pretty noticeable, but overall, yes, it is a decent sounding audio recording. Not studio quality like I like, but it was good.
Would you prefer the iPhone or the Nano recorder?
At this point, the way you did the iPhone sound recording is probably better.
I win. Yay.
Oh, gosh.
What?
Not everything's a competition. But I would say that for the flow that I had, I think that because I was not holding the voice recorder back and forth and moving it back and forth and trying to optimize for sound, I think that I was able to think and just be very conversational with him, as opposed to being stressed out about the the sound quality. Because I just tried to set it between us and into a good spot.
I was not stressed out. Remember, I'm pretty good at the system one thinking.
Which reminds me, yesterday we had a really good time with Chris Banton from T-Mobile. Yep, he came in and we had a really, really nice interview and finally got to sit down and really get to know him. So I think our process is outstanding. What do you think?
I think so. Great. I get to keep up my culinary skills of cooking in the kitchen. People get to eat it and put on a happy face, even if they don't like the food, and they eat it all. Some people even ask for seconds and thirds, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so if you want to be a guest, please ping us, and we'll see if we can get you scheduled up. We are a little bit backlogged right now.
Very backlogged, actually.
Love hearing these stories of people doing great work, people living great lives, different perspectives, and I really, really enjoy it.
Just like Charlie Shrem's podcast, Untold Stories, there's a ton of stories out there, and I learned a lot from Ian. Turns out he went from something like 500, subscribers on YouTube. So in a couple of months, within a month or two, he went to 5,000 subscribers. Yeah, so he's a little bit of an infamous guy in the space, but he's going legit. He already got a Series 65.
Oh wow! Congrats, Ian.
Yeah, totally. So he's got a really interesting perspective, having been, like he and I talked about the poster child of ICOs for the 2017 era.
Well, I heard a story on Charlie Shrem's podcast. So if you want to go check it out, go check out Charlie Shrem's podcast.
So it is a told story on Untold Stories.
Yeah.
And now retold on Windshield Time.
And actually, Ian Balina, he has a notorious reputation. Like, some people really love him, some people are not such big fans of him, but the way that he presented on Charlie Shrem's podcast, he came out very likable. Like, I understood and felt very empathetic to who he is and was, and
because you were in the middle of that torrential ICO heck that year was.
Yeah, and it was just really, really interesting to hear the real Ian Balina tell his story, his side of the story. And, every story has at least 3 sides to a story. And so I really appreciated that. And I'm glad that we got a chance to capture Ian Balina again very recently. So I'm really excited about this episode.
Awesome. All right. So the events we got coming up, December 10th, I believe, is the WTI Happy Hour at their office in Seattle overlooking Lake Union. Yep,
this is the final one for 2019. We'll do a very nice impact summary of what the council has been able to accomplish in 2019 and our plans for 2020 and how you can get involved. If you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, subscribe to the newsletter. I put out a link out on both Twitter handles on Arry in Seattle and also Cascadia Council with letter I turned into a number 1.
Why don't you send me that link and I'll include it in the show notes.
And we'll include it in the show notes. Come out and enjoy the community, and we'll have some nice beer, wine, and some tasty treats to share with y'all.
Tasty treats. Tasty, lovely treats. And then on December 5th, looks like we're going to Defy Ventures. We're going to Monroe, Washington.
Yeah, we're going to prison.
And we're going to prison.
Yeah.
I need to reply to an email, apparently.
ASAP.
Okay.
Just make sure you register so that they can confirm your attendance. Because it's the prison system, so...
All right. I must have lost it because I went through all my most recent emails last night, and it looks like I'll have to dig a little further.
Yes, probably.
Okay. All right. We'll just go straight into the interview with Ian Balina. We'll go ahead and skip the intro disclosures, disclaimers, since you went ahead and read the description of Windshield Time in the beginning.
And then thanks to our sponsors, CoinMe, the best on-ramp from cash to Bitcoin. You can check out their partnership with Coinstar machines across the United States at your nearest grocery store. They also have private client services, so you can text or call your favorite human, Brent or Brian, to do a transaction.
It's like close to 3,000 or so Coinstar machines across the country that the CoinMe software is enabled in.
Yeah, they're lighting up machines hundreds and hundreds a week. They still have, I think Coinstar has something like 26,000 or 28,000 worldwide. And so there's a lot of machines that they're working on lighting up. So the CoinMe team is very, very busy. Yay to crypto and this industry. And then thank you to the WTIA, the Washington Technology Industry Association, representing over 1,100 technology companies in the Pacific Northwest, everyone from Portland all the way up to Vancouver, BC. And did you know it's the largest technology industry association in the United States?
I think there was a write-up that was done about Michael Schuessler recently in one of the local magazines.
I think Seattle Magazine just did a write-up on Michael Schuessler. He's been the turnaround CEO that has taken the WTIA from what it was 5 years ago to what it is today. And it's a very, very, very different company, an organization. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely read up about it. And we also did a podcast with both Michael Schuessler, CEO of the WTIA, and Heather Redmond, the board chair of the WTIA. And so if you'd also like to listen to that, a few episodes back, we'll put a link into the show notes. Probably one of my favorites because it really puts a light into the technology industry and what sort of maturing that we really have to do. We've enjoyed the benefits of technology's 50, 60-year run on just pure growth. And now we need to take a step back and integrate into the communities that we exist in and give back also.
Excellent. And I found a disclaimers that was recorded by someone that I just happened to kind of lose track of. And so she's going to be closing out the show today with her reading of the disclaimers.
Great.
All right. Thanks again, y'all, for listening. Appreciate you tuning in. And be nice to each other, y'all.
Together we rise. Bye.
So appreciate you sitting down with me. Arry is a little tied up with the poker event, but glad we connected. And,
glad to be here. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. I'm still new to getting to know you, but for the folks who listen here, who we target like parents and working class folks who aren't necessarily totally in-depth familiar with Bitcoin, blockchains, cryptos, tokens, and digital assets. Could you, introduce yourself and what you've done in your background?
Yeah, so I'll just kind of start from the beginning. I was born in Kampala, Uganda.
Oh, Uganda, wow, okay.
And grew up in England and America. I came to America when I was 8 years old. My dad came to America to do his doctorate in engineering. So he brought the whole family with him and stayed here ever since then. Went to college in DC at GW, the George Washington University.
Oh, nice.
Bachelor's and master's in computer engineering.
One of my best friends went to GW for medical school.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my background is as an engineer. Then I worked as an IT consultant at Deloitte, and also worked as a sales engineer and sales executive at IBM for 4 years. And I loved my experience at IBM. I learned so much, just going from being a typical engineer to going out there and being in the field, working with Fortune 500 companies from Macy's, Staples, EY, and just really trying to sell IBM software, right? So I wasn't the typical engineer in a cubicle. And it really gave me a chance to travel the world and see how powerful technology is. So my last year, I was covering all of North America for the IBM open source analytics brand.
Okay.
And to me, that was really an experience because my first 3 years, I was working as a technical sales engineer. So I was the engineer doing the demos, workshops, proof of concepts with the sales reps. But I took a leap of faith and switched to being a sales executive.
Sales executive.
Yeah. So
you switched to the dark side.
Yeah, to the dark side.
That's
exactly.
the joke.
So I switched from the dark side, from being an engineer to the dark side in sales. And it was the best move I ever made. Financially speaking, I'd seen sales reps get large commission checks, and I felt like I was being left out. So when I took that move, I ended up working out pretty well for me. Then a friend, prior to that though, in 2016, a friend of mine wanted me to put him in touch with the director of blockchain at IBM. And I asked him, why do you care about this blockchain thing? So he told me he was a Bitcoin developer for a while, and he was launching a crypto fund. And that really got my attention because he was my age. At that time, he was 27, 28. And nobody that age I knew was launching a hedge fund.
Right.
Yet alone one for crypto or Bitcoin.
Right.
Because I thought Bitcoin was something just for the dark web, just for bad actors trying to do bad things.
Yeah.
So he really opened my eyes to it. And me being an entrepreneur and also an investor, I was dabbling in the stock market. I had dabbled in penny stocks. So I had a very, just by default being an entrepreneur, you have a very high tolerance for risk.
Oh yeah.
So when he told me he was making 200%, 300% just buying and holding Bitcoin or Ethereum, that got my attention. So that same week I hopped into Coinbase, bought my first fraction of a Bitcoin and Ethereum. And
do you remember the price of Bitcoin back then?
yes, Bitcoin was around $850.
$850. Okay.
Ethereum
wow.
was under $10. It was like $9 or so.
Right.
So this was around October 2016.
Okay.
So once I had a piece of Bitcoin and some cryptocurrency, I had to know what I was investing in, right? Because that's the first rule of investing. Invest in what you know.
Yeah.
So I first bought it, then I did the research. So I got two books. One was called Digital Gold, and the other was called The Age of Cryptocurrency.
Right.
And I think both of them are done by New York Times writers, or one of them may write for the Wall Street Journal. But they basically tell the story of cryptocurrency and blockchain from the beginning to where it is now and where it's headed. And that really gave me a nice overview on the space. So after reading those two books over the course of 3 or 4 months, it's about 3 months, I became a believer. Right? So, because initially I only put in about $100 worth of Bitcoin and Ethereum. But once I actually believed in it, I doubled down. So it was around January, February 2017. I put in, I think it was, a couple $1,000 into Bitcoin, a couple thousand into Ethereum.
Yeah.
To me, that was a lot, going from $100 to thousands.
Yeah.
Then, in about a week and a half, Ethereum announced the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance. And they had partnerships with the big companies, JP Morgan, Citibank, Microsoft. Ethereum price just went on a tear. It went up to 2.5x, maybe even 3x. And I basically doubled my money in a week and a half.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was the fastest I'd ever doubled my money in anything. So I was telling my friends, sell everything, guys. Let's go all into crypto. And
so this is 2017?
2017, early.
Okay,
Yeah,
early 2017,
around
yeah.
February 2017 or so.
It's like the best timing right there
Yeah,
during
so
the bubble, yeah.
Then I went to my first cryptocurrency conference called Token Summit in New York. It was around May. Yeah, it was around springtime 2017. And I met people in the crypto space for the first time in real life. And there seemed very professional people, smart people. It didn't seem like I was at a meetup for Silk Road at all. So that made me more confident in the space. And from meeting everybody there, I noticed that the investors who really made money in crypto got in very early. And most of them, from just interviewing them, made their money in ICOs. So that got my attention, because before then I was just kind of buying and holding, and I began to dabble in trading, but it wasn't really trading, it was just more of like FOMO buying stuff on Poloniex, so whatever was going up the most, I would just buy that, and that wasn't really a good strategy. But I pivoted to ICOs and began to throw money anywhere from $100 to $500 into just any ICO that would have an ICO. Because I thought because my job was to quit IBM by the end of the year. I wanted to become self-employed.
Yeah.
So I was basically desperate, right, to make money in crypto. But that didn't really work out for the first few weeks to a month. Then I told myself, what if I looked at the data and analytics and I used that to help me invest, right? Because I worked in analytics at IBM. I had been featured in the Wall Street Journal for using IBM Watson Analytics to predict my March Madness bracket.
Oh, wow.
Right, so I said, why not do the same thing for crypto, for ICOs?
Sure.
So I just put together a spreadsheet in Google Sheets, did research over a week, gathering as much data points as I could on ICOs, and I looked to see what the data told me. And I began to see patterns in terms of projects that had the best performance. And the things they had in common were, at that time they had a product, they were on just white paper,
Right.
ICOs. They had great teams, something I call all-star teams. And in terms of the valuation, they had different particular metrics that weren't too crazy. So I put all this into a spreadsheet. At that time, I was also creating content. I had launched a YouTube channel. It had about 500 people on it, small channel, and I began just making content on crypto. So I made educational content on Bitcoin.
So this is all while you still have your day job at IBM?
Yeah.
Nice.
I would multitask. I would basically, I was working crypto 6 to midnight, or sometimes even later. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So I worked my 9 to 5, then 6 to midnight.
Money never sleeps.
Yeah, money does not sleep. So I was doing that while making the content. Initially, the content was just around being an entrepreneur and trying to achieve financial freedom. So it's kind of like a vlog or diary, right? That's where my handle, Diary of a Made Man, comes from. So I made my first content on Bitcoin and crypto, and my audience says, whatever else you were doing, stop, just make content on crypto. We like this stuff. So I doubled down, and my next video was on ICOs. I did a video, hour-long video on ICOs for beginners. And that video ended up going viral in the crypto world. It's kind of where I got my initial audience. So my subscriber base shot up to about 5,000 in about a month or two from that video.
Yeah.
Because I knew how to make videos. I had a video production company in the past, and I was transparent. I was authentic. I wasn't hiding behind an avatar. I was telling people my real name, where I worked, my job. I could call up my boss if they wanted to.
Oh man.
So I think that authenticity in the space was very refreshing at the time.
Yeah.
And then I open sourced my spreadsheet with the world. So anybody could just go on my site and follow along my spreadsheet. And I was using that actual spreadsheet to make my investments.
Oh, okay.
So I basically had a rating system, kind of like Morningstar, but less advanced at that time, where I just basically grade tokens, and those that scored highly, I would invest in.
Okay.
And I would share exactly how much I was investing, what percentage of my portfolio. I shared my portfolio publicly every single day for almost a year.
Holy cow.
Right? I mean, to a point where I was too transparent, and I ended up getting hacked a year later.
Oh,
right?
man.
I lost $2.5 million in crypto from that hack.
I'm
right?
so sorry.
So now I'm kind of more reserved.
Yeah.
But back then I was just kind of in a new industry, just kind of trying to stand out and be as transparent as possible. And that spreadsheet, over the course of less than a year, just kind of went viral as well. Because as the crypto space was heating up and people were making money, our investments were outperforming the market that was already on a tear.
Oh,
so my first month, my two highest rated projects that month was August 2017 were 0x project and a project called District 0x DNT.
Yeah.
So ZRX and DNT. And when they came out, they both did a 10x. No, ZRX did a 10x return, meaning $1,000 turned to $10,000.
Right.
And DNT did 24x at the peak. And at that point in time, I was like, wow, I guess this actually works, this data-driven approach. So
I guess just to dive into that a little bit, the data-driven approach. So this is taking information that you were able to find about these projects, these token companies, but not like meeting the founders or interviewing the founders or anything like that?
Initially, no.
Okay.
Eventually, we began doing that, right? But initially, we were just getting both qualitative and quantitative data points.
Okay.
And then we'll basically use the three sigma rule and see how far particular projects deviated from the mean of historically successful projects. So for example, in terms of hard cap, in terms of token supply, in terms of token price, in terms of great team members, right? So getting all these different data points and kind of seeing how far projects would deviate from the mean and then penalizing them for that. And projects that were on par with the mean for projects that did well, they would score higher.
Right.
So I began just doing more videos. I was doing about two live streams a week. And that was also pretty new in the space because most content at the time for crypto was edited.
Yeah.
And mine was live, in depth.
Yeah.
The live streams were going for 2-3 hours, sometimes even 4 hours. Just me talking about the spreadsheet and kind of getting very technical.
Yeah.
Right? And it became really a way for me to kind of learn more about crypto and the projects while also educating others who are newbies getting into the space.
Right.
So they're kind of like online webinars that people would tune in for.
Yeah.
And from there, as each investment we made would outperform the market, my audience got bigger and bigger and bigger to a point where in December, things just kind of went on a tear with Bitcoin and all the altcoins.
So it's December 2017.
Yeah, December 2017 because using the spreadsheet.
Historic time period.
Yeah, absolutely. We had 3 investments that had over 80x returns in the same month.
Holy
3
cow.
ICOs.
Yeah.
So one of them was Dragon Chain, actually.
Yeah, because I'm people can't see us, but I happen to be wearing a Dragon Chain t-shirt right now. So shout out to Joe Rhodes and the whole Dragon army out there in the world if you happen to be listening. But so how did you find Dragon Chain then?
I think somebody in my network told me about the company. Went to the website, did research, and it scored pretty well.
Okay.
So we invested publicly on the website. The other projects were Icon, ICX, and Wabi, and those projects kind of put me on the map as well.
Okay.
Because I put $20,000 into Icon, and it turned into over $3 million, and everything was transparent on my spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So people who weren't really believers became believers in crypto. So that's how I kind of became like the poster child for ICOs.
Sure.
Because I was sharing my entire portfolio through the ups and downs.
Yeah.
But when the December bull market came, I kind of went viral. My YouTube channel went over 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
Same thing on Twitter. I was getting called in for interviews on CNBC, Today Show in Australia. So that's kind of when things blew up, basically.
Yeah. Holy cow! Wow, that is amazing.
Then I ended up quitting my job in September 2017, and I became a crypto millionaire, which was a goal I had in December as well. And in 2018, I spent the whole year traveling the world, doing what I call the Crypto World Tour.
Yeah.
So I did 35 countries in 12 months, doing the country every two to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And going everywhere, because I've seen people in crypto travel, but not everybody really does a world tour. So we did America, Europe, Asia, Middle East, South America, Africa, going around hosting conferences, meetups as large as 1,000 people in Moscow, 1,000 people in London, 300 people in Lagos, Nigeria. And I went there with my team, creating content, documenting everything. And it was definitely a great experience.
Wow, holy cow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Wait, so then, were you able to time it such that you didn't, ride everything down in 2018?
I was taking profits.
Okay, good.
But obviously, I wish I could have taken more, right?
Sure,
but,
yeah.
Because before I got hacked, I took out about $500,000 just to kind of finance my business and the Crypto World Tour travels.
Sure.
But I was also planning to take out more because I wanted to buy my parents a home, and that was one of probably the most upsetting things of the hack. I wasn't able to buy my parents a home because of that. I had to kind of push that back. Sure. Right. So that definitely kind of has affected me in terms of not being so much in the public spotlight and kind of being more reserved.
Do you still have that same YouTube channel then?
Yes, I do.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's still up there, but I'm not as active as I used to. Now, so I ended up launching a new company called 100x Advisors, which is a blockchain investment and advisory company.
Okay.
So in 2018, we made 15 investments in 15 different countries. So we kind of prided ourselves in being very diverse and traveling around the world, finding blockchain startups to invest in. So it was kind of like a traveling Shark Tank, in a way. So that was pretty cool. So I've been doing that for over a year.
Yeah.
And then this year, in early 2019, I launched a new project called TokenMetrics, taking what I was doing with the spreadsheet, because in January 2018, at the peak of the crypto market, I took down my spreadsheet.
Okay.
Because it was getting too powerful. The influence was way too much, to a point people were just blindly investing in anything I would rate highly on the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like it because it was chaotic. So I saw that.
You must have been getting pings from people like in Telegram, like in all kinds of
everywhere.
messaging channels everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's basically
the mania was insane.
Just you. Yeah.
So I took it down, and because I also saw that ICOs in the current format were changing. they're now shifting more towards being more private. So because of regulation, compliance, they're now only focusing on institutions. So it didn't really make sense for me to, because part of my audience, although were people who had funds or institutions, they're also retail investors. And if they're being left out, it didn't really make sense for me to create ratings for these projects if they can't invest, because then they'll just get mad at me.
And there was, they started a number of the ICO projects also. They wouldn't allow U.S. investors, for example. They would do technical limitations so that if they knew your computer or you were sitting in the U.S., they wouldn't let you invest in them.
That began happening as well.
Yeah.
And also the spreadsheet was crashing because at the peak it was getting over 1 million unique visitors each month.
Oh, okay. And so you were testing the limits of what Google Sheets could do.
Because we also had other external plugins in there that couldn't handle the demand of people pulling up the sheet at the same time.
Oh, okay. So, did you ever get a call from Google saying, "Hey, we appreciate
Google,
you stress testing"?
Sometimes people would just kind of get a broken error when they would pull up the sheet, and they would have to wait for an hour. So that's when I knew I had to pivot and find something else, right? So for the last year and a half, I've been trying to figure out how to build something that scales.
Yeah.
And now we're shifting from focusing purely on ICOs to now creating ratings for tokens currently trading as well.
Oh,
so becoming kind of like a Morningstar or Moody for cryptos.
I see.
And now we're using machine learning and getting a lot more data points. And we think it's something that can really scale because everybody can participate if something's trading on an exchange.
Yeah.
Right. So because ICOs have kind of petered out and aren't really in favor anymore. Right. And we feel like doing ratings on all tokens and taking in right now we have over 74 different data points we're looking at for each cryptocurrency, from both the fundamentals to the technical analysis to code reviews and software development. We've hired developers from Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Blockchain, PhDs in machine learning, fundamental analysts, all of them working together to create data points on each cryptocurrency, and then backtesting it and seeing what works historically.
Oh, I see.
Right? So we're taking all of that and we're building an online investment advisor for crypto. And the idea is for it to help investors with short-term trading and also asset selection and portfolio management.
Are you mainly targeting retail individual investors then?
Initially, we'll launch with retail investors,
okay.
But we do plan to cater to institutions as well, whether it's with the research that we have, or even doing white label robo-advisor for crypto, where our technology basically runs their fund.
Oh, okay.
Right,
okay.
So that's something we're also exploring.
I mean, because this kind of ties into some services that I've used in the past where, sometimes retail investors, or a lot of times retail investors will use them, but they're almost more tailored towards institutions, like hedge funds, seriously professional, trading environments. And so it seems like you could create, kind of like a two-tier system where you have like the retail level, but then the higher cost, institutional investors get different level of information and insights.
Yeah. So initially we began with the retail because it was just the lower hanging fruit. But we are planning to work towards that. Like I just passed my Series 65 exam last week, and
congratulations!
Thank you. So that now I can officially apply to the SEC to become an investment advisor, and also make TokenMetrics a registered investment advisor, basically a robo-advisor for crypto.
Right.
And we think that can really help us scale and expand towards catering to institutions. And the plan is hopefully in 1 or 2 years to be a custodial, meaning people can have the portfolio on TokenMetrics and we take care of everything.
Sure.
Right? We handle all the trading, portfolio management, active portfolio management, right? Because you can't really be an active trader because nobody has time for that. Most people in crypto, right? They have full-time jobs, other businesses they're running, family life. Because in a crypto bear market, it makes more sense to actively trade than to just hold, because it makes no sense to hold Bitcoin from 20,000 all the way down to 3,000, right? The ideal strategy is to get out of Bitcoin around 18, 19, 20,000, buy back in around 3, 4, 5,000, right? But to do that, you have to be very actively involved.
Yeah.
So we're trying to automate that with our software and machine learning.
Okay. Wow, you give me a whole bunch to ask questions about here. So Let me just touch on the IBM portion and being a sales engineer, because it's so funny that I was also a sales engineer.
Oh, wow.
And I worked at level 3 communications for 10 years, working in telecom.
Yeah.
So it's like guys like Alex Mashinsky. So he's the inventor of VoIP and everything like that. It's so crazy that I also worked in networks, the bottom 3 layers of the OSI model, and network, link layer, and then the IP layer, network layer. And so like I always warm up when I hear about guys like Alex Mashinsky and you like coming into the space from like the tech side, and because it seems like there's many more people who come from like telecom and even technology who seem to be not so interested in this world of Bitcoin and blockchains and crypto and tokens. Like, why do you think that is?
I mean, it's still nascent. It's still growing.
Still early days.
Right? Yeah, it's still very early because I joined this space thinking I was late.
Yeah.
But now when I meet somebody else, I tell them they're early. Right? Because the space is so huge. It's global. From traveling the world, I've seen the space is global. It's a very big market, but it's still growing and up and coming.
Right.
And there's still some growing pains, especially when it comes to infrastructure, regulation, compliance. So that may give some people reservations to kind of going all in into blockchain and crypto.
Right. So, so I have to pinch myself a lot and remind myself that it is still early days, because having experienced that boom and bust cycle of the 2017 and everything, I go through the whole like fear of missing out, FOMO as it's known. Go through the fear of missing out, emotional cycles, but then I'm kind of hoping that we basically traded into the bottoms of like all these tokens that are out there. I mean, how long do you think, and what do you think like is the forecast for all these tokens that are basically just completely been
Become
devastated? Yeah, there you go. That's the blunt way of saying it. Yeah.
I mean, so I just came back from Ethereum DevCon in Osaka, Japan a few weeks ago.
Okay.
And sentiment over there was people are still building the space. Developers, people are building. Investors are still on the sidelines, especially token investors. I mean, the only investments right now happening are a few equity investments in infrastructure of the space. But in terms of tokens, almost every investor I speak with is bearish on tokens.
Okay.
Short term, at least.
Yeah.
Long term, it's hard to predict, but long term, I'm still optimistic and bullish on crypto, blockchain, and the space. But I feel like right now, almost everybody is on the sidelines or in Bitcoin.
Right.
Anything to do with a token, they don't want to see because they're jaded. They've lost so much money.
Yeah. I feel bad for the folks who have held on to all the tokens, through all the down cycle. It's like what's that? Emotions like hope and greed determine more the trading pattern than anything else. Trading and investment pattern. What about this whole world of security tokens? So to the folks listening, security tokens are said to be the, next big great wave of tokens, where they're basically like stocks, except they're purely based in like a blockchain-based token world. What is your view on how security tokens will evolve?
I'm very
grow?
optimistic and bullish on security tokens.
Okay.
I think here in the U.S. it's the only way forward, because just based on what the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, has said about cryptocurrencies and most tokens or ICOs, it views almost all of them as securities.
Yeah.
So I think what Blockstack has done, Blockstack and Props project, has been very innovative, because Blockstack was the first SEC qualified security token, and now they're trading on Binance. So I think because the main issue with security tokens has been liquidity, not being able to buy and sell it on an exchange. So it's been illiquid in the past.
Right.
So what Blockstack has done has paved a path forward for other products to now model and follow. So I think they're definitely paving the way, and I think I'm bullish on it, but I think it's still far out. Maybe couple years or more.
So one of the questions that was posed to Anthony Pompiano, he was on stage yesterday here at the Litecoin Summit. Someone asked like, "Hey, so what's it going to take for mainstream adoption? And his answer was just like super quick. It was just like time. You need time. It's like if the number of people who knew about crypto in 2016 was like 1,000, and then the next year it jumped to 5,000, and then the next year after that it jumps to maybe 50,000. It just takes time for a billion or more people to know about it. And we got stuff like Libra happening with Facebook and everything that's making people more aware of what's going on.
Yes, yeah.
But it's gonna take a lot of time. So I have to ask your opinion. And for full disclosure, I am in T0. So T0,
the exchange?
The actual security token.
The security token.
Yeah. So I went into that, and then it was the whole like 1 year lock and everything. But now it's trading over only on T0 basically.
Yeah.
Do you know about that project, and do you have thoughts about what they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I looked into it, and I didn't personally invest because they're raising way too much money at the time for me. I felt the valuation was very high. They've been having some issues with the CEO of Overstock, I think Patrick Byrne.
Yeah, so he went into like the executive chairman position for a while, and then there's some stories about a Russian spy or something
that
he
was dating.
And then he just completely exited from everything that was going on.
Yeah. So I feel like initially most of the industry had high hopes on them really bearing the flag for the security token movement.
Yeah, they're like the canary in the coal mine, maybe with another couple of other canaries, but
yeah, they haven't really lived up to their vision, I think. So I'm not sure if they're going to be the ones to continue forward.
Sure, yeah.
Right? I think it may end up being Coinbase or Binance, because I know they're also working on eventually having security token trading on their platforms.
Right.
So I think that might be a better prospect.
Sure. Can we go back to like the poster boy comment of ICOs and stuff? I mean, so how do you feel about how that has all now evolved and where you sit now? I mean, do people still like come after you, or do they like recognize you and all that?
Yeah, I mean, here at the conference, people recognize me still, right? Online people are a lot meaner than in person.
The trolls.
Yeah, the trolls, because online people are anonymous.
Yeah.
That in person, I never hear anything bad.
Oh, okay, okay.
Because I mean, in real life, people are nice.
Right.
But online, anybody can say anything, right? Kind of keyboard warriors, hiding behind a keyboard. But I mean, overall, what I would say I've learned, I mean, just kind of being less out there in the public eye, right? I mean, I'm still out here, obviously, at public events, per se, but in a bear market, I mean, I think it's better to build, right? Because in a bull market, the content just kind of came easy because there was lots of interest. But just kind of having empathy with people who have been jaded, who have been scammed, lost money, right? Whether from my picks or other picks or just even Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right? Just kind of having empathy and not trying to really keep on evangelizing crypto so emphatically when people have lost mortgages.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I was just on Twitter yesterday, and apparently, I think it was Justin Wu's tweet that went out, but I think we were on like the 2-year anniversary yesterday of the whole like BitConnect disaster. And so when I hear that hey thing, I'm just like, oh God. I mean, I feel like it's great, like, entertainment value,
great comedy.
but but it kind of like at the same time makes me cringe. And then it's like almost like a scarlet letter, well, it is a scarlet letter on the industry, but you got to remember that people did lose money, and it's a sensitive situation, depending on the piece of people that you're talking to. Also, on being in the public eye and being a public figure, Do you regret having kind of taken those steps to make yourself so transparent and open and public?
I mean, I've thought about it hard,
Yeah.
but I don't think I would have changed because it ended up being learning lessons for me, right? For example, if I didn't get hacked, maybe I would have gotten hacked when I had more money, right? Because getting hacked made me kind of take security a lot more seriously.
Yeah.
And find out weaknesses I had, right? As opposed to 5 years down the road when I have hopefully tens of millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and then getting hacked.
Yeah. So you're taking a lot more better security measures for yourself.
I definitely had to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, so I have to ask, the whole saying, not your keys, not your coins.
Yes.
So was it a situation like that then, where it was on exchanges or something?
No. So I stored copies of my private keys in Evernote. So that kind of ended up becoming a meme. Because I was traveling, I was in a country every 2-3 weeks. And at times I wanted to have quick access, right, without kind of just traveling with everything.
Yeah.
Right, so they ended up hacking that. I thought I had some encryption on it, but I didn't have full security on that. I definitely learned my lesson on that. So I ended up hiring a security company, a firm, to help me with my security.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of helped stress test and see weaknesses I had.
Sure.
So that was definitely very helpful.
Right.
And then also, I mean, because in 2017, everybody was making money. In 2018, some people made money. I mean, I know I made money from ICOs,
Sure.
but not everybody made money, right? And then in 2019, especially, the markets kind of dried up.
Right.
So it's also forced me to kind of keep on trying to innovate. That's why we're building TokenMetrics. That's why for the last 3 or 4 months, I've been studying to take my Series 65 exam, and I passed that. And I'm working hard towards now applying to the SEC to become an investment advisor.
Yeah.
Right. So all this wouldn't have happened if I didn't have any setbacks. Right. If I was still on the moon on cloud 9, I don't think that would have incentivized me to change and try to get better. And improve upon that.
Just to dive in just a little bit on the whole Evernote thing. I mean, was it basically like an email alias that was used to basically hack into the whole Evernote thing?
I think it's
or
kind
a
of
phone
hard.
number? Because phone numbers right now are totally easy.
So it's kind of hard to speculate, but I think what happened was they hacked my college email address.
Oh, okay.
Which didn't have 2FA.
Okay.
And I had my college email as a backup to my Google account. I had 2FA on my Google account, but they did forget password, which went to my college email, because it was just old software that didn't have anything.
Yeah.
So I think they used that to get access to my Gmail. Then once they had that, they had access to all kinds of different software services I used.
Right.
And they went snooping around.
Right.
They kind of took their time. I think that they hacked me and took a month or two just kind of during their intel, finding out everything about this platforms I was on.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so sorry you went through that. I'm super paranoid when it comes to anything online because I mean I was in the information technology business.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still in it, But I'm super paranoid, and so I try to take as many precautions as I can. And even doing this podcast with Arry as my co-host, I've tried to become even more security focused and security minded, even as we're becoming public figures, working in this space. But I know how bad it can get. I mean, it can just be really, really, really nasty about what happens with personal information and what's out there. And so, it's a really, really expensive lesson to learn for you.
It was a very expensive lesson. But I mean, I think it's better I learned it now than when I have more money.
Yeah. So one of the mantras that Arry and I have on this show is that, you're by listening to this podcast, your reactions are totally your responsibility. Like, if you find it fun, great. If you don't find it fun, whatever reaction you have is totally and completely your responsibility. And so that's kind of our way of having our own little disclosures, disclaimers, toward people. But seeing how you're reacting over a major loss like that, it seems like you're doing okay because you've chosen your reaction, which is to learn from it and move on.
I mean, because that's the only way, right? Because I know because I got hacked actually on a live stream. I was doing a live stream with my audience.
Oh.
And it happened live.
Holy
right?
cow.
So that's kind of having that, one of the lowest moments of my life happen as for public consumption. It definitely has kind of been a learning lesson.
Yeah.
But just by my nature, I've always been almost like almost a stoic, right?
Sure.
Because, I mean, although it was upsetting, the way I viewed it was trying to stay angry wouldn't get the money back.
Exactly.
Right? And I knew that if I stayed angry and kind of got into depression, that's what they wanted me to do, the hackers, those bad guys that took the money, right? They wanted me to kind of, they wanted to kill my spirit.
Yeah.
Right? So I couldn't really let them kill my spirit. I mean, sure, they may have the money, but the way I viewed it was, this was a skill I had learned, right? And I knew I could do this again, right? Because it wasn't by luck, per se, right? Mm-hmm. So that kind of gave me confidence and persevering.
Sure, yeah. So so now that we're, near the end of 2019 here, people have been calling for, this legendary altcoin season to come back. What are your thoughts on that?
Not in the short term, in my opinion. I mean, if it happens, great. I mean, in the last week or so, I know with China making blockchain and crypto one of their higher objectives, we've seen lots of Chinese altcoins kind of have green days. I'm not sure how long-lived that's going to be,
right.
But if that's the case, I mean, anything can happen, right? It's crypto, right? Crypto can be going down for a while, then out of nowhere, it has news like China news that breaks out and changes the whole market overnight.
Yeah.
So it's definitely very hard to predict, so I'm not really going to be in the prediction business. But I mean, outside of the China news, altcoins, I don't think it's going to be alt season per se.
Right. Well,
I'm thinking maybe more towards Bitcoin halving. Maybe prior to that. I mean, that could be priced in, but I think towards the end of the year, I feel like maybe if we get some positive news with Facebook Libra.
Yeah.
Right now, they've kind of been getting dragged through the mud in Congress and by regulators in multiple jurisdictions.
Yeah.
So if something positive happens with that, or maybe with Telegram Ton as well, that plus the China news, maybe that could be the catalyst to start alt season. But I think alt season is going to have to change because investors now are wiser. They're wiser and they have experience.
Yeah.
And they're jaded. So yeah, something would definitely have to change to bring in new money.
So I don't like Arry and I don't actually talk a lot about price action. Like we do actually quote the price of Bitcoin every show, and we do some conversions and to figure out how many Satoshis you get for $1. But do you think that just by looking at a chart simply and seeing the price action on Bitcoin, do you think that we're still in a bull market or bear market or flat market for Bitcoin?
Bitcoin is going sideways right now.
Okay,
right?
So you're calling sideways. Okay.
Yeah, because Bitcoin is still above the 200-day moving average.
Right.
So
yeah, that's a very big technical indicator that people watch.
Indicator. I would say we're in a healthy pullback.
Okay.
Almost. If it drops below the moving average, then I think we definitely will be worried.
I haven't really found many reliable places where you can find really hard data, sound hard data. And it's funny because Bitcoin's, the hardest, soundest money that mankind has ever known.
Yeah.
But I can't find sound hard data on that kind of stuff.
On Bitcoin.
That I don't really look for it anyway because I don't trade. But
well, that's something we're working on with TokenMetrics.
Okay. All right. Cool.
We'll have troves and troves of data, performance metrics on pretty much every single cryptocurrency, and we're hoping it's really going to usher in a more data-driven approach to investing and trading.
Right. Oh, that's outstanding. Diary of a Made Man. Is that your Twitter handle?
Yeah, that's my Twitter handle. My YouTube. Yeah, so that was my handle. Just kind of came from me keeping a diary.
Okay.
A vlog.
That's literally spelled out exactly like it sounds.
Yeah.
Diary of a Made Man.
Not diary like the milk. Diary like a journal.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, did I write dairy there?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think,
how do you spell diary? Oh,
Diary.
diary.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a made man. Oh, that's funny, dude. That's awesome.
And it just kind of comes from being an entrepreneur and kind of trying to become a made man and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
totally. No, I totally hear what you mean. So, I mean, you were in corporate America for how long?
I would say 5 years or so.
5 years?
Yeah.
Okay, that's enough. 5 years is enough to kind of be aware enough and decide you want to do something else. So you're basically setting out. Well, you've been set out on the whole entrepreneurial journey now ever since September of 2017.
I mean, even prior to that, I've been an
prior-
entrepreneur since college.
Oh, okay, all right.
So I've had different businesses from a freelancing iOS app for freelancers to a dictionary, a multilingual social dictionary, to a video production company, to doing Amazon FBA e-commerce,
Oh,
to
wow.
doing Airbnb short-term rentals.
Oh.
I've kind of dabbled in almost everything
Yeah.
before crypto.
Oh, okay. So from this point on out, you're definitely all in crypto,
Yeah.
digital assets, blockchains, whatever the word is going to be for the long run. I mean, you're in it to win it, basically.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's the game plan.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. All right, so if folks want to find you, I mean, what's the best place to reach out to you then?
Best place is to go to our Telegram group. Just go on Telegram. We have a public group called TokenMetrics.
Okay.
Just search for that, or just search for TokenMetrics on Twitter, on YouTube.
Okay.
They can contact us. Just go to TokenMetrics.com.
Okay. Awesome. You're able to get TokenMetrics.com?
Yeah, we actually own the trademark and copyright to it.
Oh, that's so awesome. I get so irritated with digital real estate, especially the .coms. The digital real estate is just so crazy hard to find.
Yeah.
And so congratulations on, being able to land all
Thank
those
you.
handles and URLs. Yeah.
We had to buy
That's
it.
a big
but,
deal.
yeah.
Oh.
It wasn't
still,
cheap. Yeah.
Well, still, you got it. So, yeah.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Well, hey, Ian, really appreciate you sitting down and talking to me. And hopefully I'll keep in touch and become a customer of yours. So,
Sounds good. We'll definitely
yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, y'all. This is Dora from Detroit. None of the statements or opinions expressed in this podcast by the guest or its host is to be taken as financial or legal or psychological or dietary advice or a solicitation of any kind to participate in a conservative or risky or speculative financial instrument that may or may not require accredited investor status as defined by either the Securities and Exchange Commission or the Commodity Futures Trading Commission or any other regulatory agency of the United States of America or any other sovereign national regulatory agency or independent thought and rational thinking from the laws of humanity. By listening, you acknowledge that the hosts, Arry and Day, and their guests are not financial advisors or legal scholars or psychologists or dietitians of any kind, but only humans and not sentient intergalactic alien life forms. There shall be no reliance by the listeners to the representations made in this podcast as being factual, fiduciary, or any other big vocabulary word you can think of. All statements made in this podcast by any living or dead or unborn or zombie or robotic entity in the past, present, or future of the space-time continuum of the known universe are purely ironic or coincidental thoughts and opinions. Moments or observations of sarcasm, sadness, glee, education, entertainment, enlightenment, or any other enumerated emotion and or reaction experienced from this podcast are fully your responsibility and reaction that may or may not be intended for the listener in any way, shape, or form. This podcast contains adult information. Discretion is strongly advised. Thank you for listening.
Have you seen the Defiant Ones by chance? The HBO series about Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre?
Dr. Dre. No, I've got that on my queue. I gotta see. I hear it's
watch that,
amazing.
dude.
Yeah. Mike said it was really good.
It's amazing. It's amazing. You get the first one for free, the first episode.
But I'm on
if
HBO.
You're not, oh, you're on. Okay,
We
perfect.
have HBO for free.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can come over to our house and watch it.
That's a great reason to come over.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
You should. All right. Yeah, because what part of money does your laugh not touch? I said it backwards, but y'all know what I mean, all right? I'm Matthew McConaughey, and I'm in Texas, and I'm getting hammered drunk on Tito's, all right? All right.